What is up, everyone? Welcome to the edition of Live Locks presented by Scores and Odds. If you haven't checked it out already, just making bad life choices. Gone over to scoresandodds.com where you got picks from me, Meansy, Dino, all the greats. Plus, you get access to this nice little prop shopping tool where you can see exactly what we have projected for each individual prop, plus where the best line's at. And most importantly, you get access to Grant's Action Lounge. What is Grant's Action Lounge? Well, it's my Discord where I'm throwing in all my bets each and every day so you can get them in before the line moves. Just go to scoresandodds.com/Discord. Throwing in the chat right now. We got a lot of bets today. I'm probably going to try and hammer through this because there are so many. Let's see. I have 50 bets today. Yeah, it's a lot. 13 games. Obviously, no games yesterday because of Election Day. 15 games the day before, so everyone fully rested. Should be a fun one. We're going to start off with Dinwiddie. I pretty much took all his unders. Dinwiddie under 18.5 points. Dinwiddie under... got that minus 125 over at DK. Dinwiddie under 26.5 points, rebounds, assists. Got that at minus 115 over at DK. And Dinwiddie under 2.5 threes. Got that at minus 108 over at FanDuel. Now, Dinwiddie has not really been doing a ton recently. We have him projected for under on all three lines. Offshore likes all three lines. Coming off a 2-point game, I know that he had a few 20-point games. This is just not a spot really where I really want to target him. Let's see if the line's moved at all on his points. Might have been already moved. 17.5. Yeah, so we got an 18.5. You can that at minus 122 over at FanDuel, so still solid. Again, haven't projected for just at 17 matchup versus Orlando, potential blowout. Lots of guys injured for Orlando, so yeah, this is easy under on all three of these. Luka under 3.5 3-pointers made. You can get that at minus 118 over at BetMGM. Luka, been solid. Is that the right line? Did I input that wrong? Might have been put. No, it's moved pretty drastically. Minus 158, minus 155. So that one's moved drastically. I'd probably stay away from that one. Nurk, currently questionable. I'd probably stay away. I doubt it's even on the board right now. Terry Rozier under 4.5 rebounds. You can get that at plus 105 over at DraftKings. I have this at over a 50% chance to hit here. Looking at our projections, currently the best line is sitting at plus 110 on the under over at MGM. So I'd probably go hit that over there. I got it plus 105. It's moved a little bit. Who knows if that's good or bad. Doesn't help that Nurk's out. I still like it at minus 110. Plumlee, or Nurk's questionable. Plumlee, I don't know if I'd currently hit this. Minus 125 on the under. I got a minus 127. Nurk is currently questionable, so that kind of takes a hit into it. I'd probably stay away. Jeremy Grant, I doubt this one's on the board. Grant went from probable to questionable. If the line is still up on the board, let's see. No, it's down everywhere. So I'd stay away from that. Lillard over 23.5 points, minus 118 over at Sports Illustrated. That might still be on the board over there at Sports Illustrated. So if you have an SI account, then go hit it. Lillard has been averaging about 30 points per 36. Jeremy Grant potentially not being in there. Nurk potentially not being in there. Drastic increase to his overall usage. I'd hammer that if it's still on the board. I'm going to check real quick over at Sports Illustrated, see if it's still on the board here. Player props. Nope, it is currently down. So if that goes back on the board, even at 25.5, I'd hit that over. Jamal Murray over 26.5 points, rebounds, assists. Jamal minus 120 over at DK. Jamal Murray over 4.5 assists, minus 111 over at FanDuel. Both of these are very solid lines. Murray's playing a bunch of minutes now, well, a bunch compared to what he used to. Low mid-30s, right around 33, pretty much most games now. If they end up staying close, he's hit that in 3 of the last 4 games, with the one exception being a blowout. Murray has looked more like his old self. Shot volume has been solid, 16-plus shot attempts in each of those 3 games that weren't blown out. Matchup versus Indy, 235.5 total here. I took a few overs. Over 0.5 threes for Jokic. Over 16.5 points for MPJ, minus 110 over at MGM. Just all the big 3 for Denver are going to feast in this spot. Again, massive total. 5.5 point spread, so should stay close enough if I remember correctly. All these are far too low of lines. Cade Cunningham, over 31.5 points, assists, rebounds. You get this minus 111 over at Caesars. Let me see if this line has changed. The big thing about this is some places at 31.5, some places it's at 33.5. FanDuel has it at 33.5 with neutral juice. Yeah, it's moved pretty heavily. I'd still take it at -115 on the over at DraftKings. Again, just really solid overall line here. Likely going to be doing a lot in this game if this game stays close. Boston is a tough matchup, but he's averaged well over that. I'm rolling with the over. Jason Tatum over 26.5 points. Solid overall matchup going up against Detroit. Not a good defensive team. Sadiq Bey under 15.5 points, -110. Joe Harris under 18.5 points, rebounds, assists, -111 at Caesars. He's still just not doing a ton at the moment, largely 3-point reliant. Looking at his last few games, he is coming off a 14-point game. He is going to see a small increase because of Kyrie being out, but this line is a bit too heavy. I'm rolling with the under. Kevin Durant over 44.5 points, rebounds, assists. This is a very solid line here. While it's hitting it pretty often on the under for the last few games, it was sitting around 48, 49, 50.5 in virtually every single game. Now that's down at 44.5. I know it's a tougher matchup going up against New York, but usage is absolutely fantastic for him. You can still get that at -115 over at FanDuel. Julius Randle on the other side, under 1.5 3-pointers made. Julius Randle under 20.5 points made. I know that this is a solid matchup going up against the Nets here, but these lines are both too high. He's just coming off 2 massive games and 2 massive scoring games. I don't expect that to continue. He's hit the under on this prior to the last 2 games, the previous 5 games in a row. Just coming off an 8 3-pointer game that I don't expect to continue. He's not going to launch nearly that much from beyond the arc. Both these lines, he's hit at a well above average clip, getting +130 on the under of 1.5 3-pointers, getting plus or -110 on the points. Both solid lines. Sengun under 28.5 points, rebounds, assists. Jalen Green under 28.5 points, rebounds, assists, or rather 29.5 for Sengun. Scotty Barnes under 8.5 rebounds. So first of all, this is sitting at a 10-point spread. I think there's a decent chance that this ends up being a blowout. While it is a good matchup for Toronto, Barnes is averaging 6.6 rebounds per game. He's just had a few double-doubles and I think 1 triple-double over his last few games. So overall, this line's just heavily inflated. He's a guy that averaged 7.5 rebounds per game last season, 6.6 so far this season. This line is just drastically too high. And then Sengun and Green, again, chance of a blowout, tough matchup. Not going to be terribly high scoring. I'm taking the under on both of them. Brandon Ingram under 34.5 points, rebounds, assists. Zion over 35.5 points, rebounds, assists, -104 at FanDuel. Vooch over 10.5 boards. He's generally sitting around 12 for this line. I know that he's going up against the Pelicans, who are one of the best rebounding teams in the league, but still, this should be 11.5, not 10.5. Zion under 7.5 boards. Herbert Jones under 3.5 boards. McCollum under 4.5 boards. -110, +115, and -100 for those 3. Vooch under 16.5 points. Again, not a great matchup. I actually like the overs on DeRozan, Ingram, Levine, Zion, all their points. So all sitting around -110 for each of them. 23.5 for Ingram. He's been doing that, outdoing that. This has a massive total, 233.5, if I remember correctly. DeRozan over 23.5 points. Zion over 23.5 points. All very solid lines. I think this is going to be high scoring. I don't think Vooch does a ton in this spot here, meaning everyone else does. Jaden McDaniels under 12.5 points, rebounds, assists. Really has not been doing a ton recently. Edwards over 21.5 points and Cat over 22.5 points. Both of these are solid lines here. -119 and -113 respectively at Caesars and FanDuel. They're going to be doing a decent amount in this game. Let's see if the lines have actually changed. Let's see. Carl Anthony Towns. Still sitting at 22.5. We haven't projected for 22. Chris Paul just got ruled out, so I'm not sure if these lines have gone down. Both of them are a bit too low. Yeah. Jeremiah Robinson Earl under 7.5 points, -128 over at FanDuel. Vassell over 26.5 points, assists, rebounds, -110 at MGM. One of my favorite ones. He's been averaging over 20 points a game so far this season. Doesn't matter if he's coming off the bench or starts. And he started last game. Probably we'll see. Regardless, if he comes off the bench, if this is a potential blowout, then he's still going to hit the over because he's still going to get his normal run. If he starts, then he's still going to crush. just way too low line. If you want to take his points alone, his points line, I think, is sitting at 18.5, maybe 19.5. I don't mind that at all. 17.5. We currently have him, or 18.5. We currently have him projected for 20.62. So if you want to hit that one too, go hit it. Trey Jones under 7.5 assists, minus 137 over at Caesars. We currently have him projected for around 6.5. I believe Jones has been solid so far this season, but this line is just a bit too high, especially with Vassell in the lineup. I'm easily taking the under. Zubac over 22.5 points, assists, rebounds, minus 115 over at DK. LeBron James under 41.5 points, rebounds, assists, minus 115 over at Caesars. Just came out. They said he will play today. Obviously, shenanigans can happen, but it looks like he's going to play today. Has not been great so far this season. Shooting awful from deep. Has not looked right. Tough matchup going up against Paul George. More than likely going to end up in a rough spot here. I'm rolling with the under. Donovan Mitchell under 27.5 points, minus 115 over at DK. It's been sitting around 24.5, 25.5 for a little bit, now up to 27.5 with Garland back in the lineup, going to eat into his production. This is an easy under for me, and I'm also taking Garland under points, under 21.5, minus 115. Garland has been very solid so far this year, but again, Mitchell's eating into his points pretty heavily. You can actually get this at 22.5. Yeah, 22.5 over at FanDuel. I got minus 115. It's sitting at minus 120 over at PointsBet. I'd still take it at that. Line's starting to move. But that's it. That's the show. Back again tomorrow. We're out of here. Later, kids.